I did
Yeah.
have a question for you, Jim.
Go
What
ahead.
is the ideal lot? What does it look like?
So I believe the ideal lot is an infill lot. And we get a lot of pushback, and we've worked with the bigger hedge funds and some family offices that they want to build a whole community. That's fine, and we'll do that. I got to tell you personally, Eric, for me, that old school investor training I got is, what would you say? Find a fixer-upper in a solid area, priced below the median, that's, got a good balance of home ownership and renters, right? Because if you go to an all renter area, it's tougher. It usually has bigger turnover, more, crime issues or things like that, worse resaleability. So find that area with a mixture of homeowners and renters. Right. We're able to do that when we buy infill lots. And also with an infill lot, like it sounds so cool. Oh, you bought this big piece of land and you're developing it into all these lots. You know what? That's a 2 to 3 year wait then. And I've had to really learn from my training of where I can buy a home, fix it up, and have it resold or rented within 4 months. 3 years feels like a very long time, and it is. And you got to have holding power and stuff but the infill lots, I mean, they're already usually approved. I mean, the utilities are right there. You're in an existing neighborhood that already shows. So people, oh no, I need to do this whole community. I disagree, and even us who have gotten to a bigger volume, we buy infill lots in bulk in areas we like. So it's almost like our trades they're not at the one same community project, but they're in the same area. So our trades can get there, our suppliers can get there. So those are my favorite type. And also for our investors, I'm always trying to mitigate risk, right? Our investors, again, our average investor, Eric, they don't want to do what you and I do. They want to understand it. And I say, you need to understand it, but they have a very successful career. Maybe they're a doctor, or they have a successful business, or they're in tech and they're working 70 hours a week and they don't want to take on a second or third job, but they have really good disposable income they're trying to put into real estate. Right. So that's where we step in, and we need to remove the headaches. An existing neighborhood already has proof of concept. We all know that simple recipe, right around the median or below the median. Existing home ownership and renters where you'll drive the neighborhood at 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday, no problems. That's where we buy our infill lots, and we're able to get those solid numbers. And so that's why I like the infill lot. I think it's very overlooked, and some of the big guys puffing their chest out and say, oh, we want only a whole community. That's great. But it goes against some of my old school things. Yes, we do them and we've built them before, but I'd rather go into that existing neighborhood.
Now, just for clarification to our listeners that maybe, not understand what infill is, are you talking about a neighborhood that has just recently been developed and there's a couple of vacant lots in there inside that community that has not been built yet and they just can't seem to offload them?
Great question. It can be both. So, there's communities sometimes where, hey, these large national home builders go in and they build their houses, right? And most of those are owner occupied. But we found that these big builders, they get unfocused for the very end of a project and want to go to the next one. So we've had times we've gone in and bought the last 15 to 30 lots available in the community that they just haven't built out. We'll buy those off them because they're already moving on to a big project. So that's a newer construction neighborhood, just finished. And we'll buy out those final lots because they get shiny object and go to the next big project. Absolutely. I'm also talking about existing neighborhoods, Eric. We'll go into areas where the houses were built in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Now, these are solid areas. These are areas that you and I would walk, again, 9 o'clock on a Saturday night, but they're older homes. A lot of them have already had a re-renovation done, and there's lots of home ownership. But these are where there's these vacant lots that were just never built. And some of these existing neighborhoods like that, especially where our areas in Florida that we focus on, they're all there. They're just sitting there. There's a nice little house, older house, but nice house, with pride of ownership. And there's a vacant lot on, right next door or a little ways down the road. Those ones I really like because that neighborhood really has proof of concept.
Yeah. Is there anywhere you go to find these vacant lots, or do you just get on Google Earth and just go looking around?
If you wanted to start at the most basic level and you're looking in a certain area, driving neighborhoods and find out who own it is basic. It's hard now, again, when you have a decade in where we've grown. I mean, we have a 17-person land acquisition team. So we're always buying lots. And, we have a very great off-market system. We had to work up to that. But again, And that, don't let that intimidate you, because I'm saying, yeah, if you don't want to do it on your own, yeah, come work with us. But if you do want to do it on your own, well, then start small. You don't need to hire this whole acquisition team. Start looking in areas, get on the MLS, see if there's something that starts to work within your numbers. Because again, if you're starting with one, you only need one lot.
That's it. So if people